Nintendo found a way to sell you a 10-year-old game at full price, and somehow make you feel thankful for it. What if Nintendo's most valuable product is not Mario, Zelda, or the Switch, but the version of you who played them before life got expensive? A game can be old, already reviewed, already beaten, and still return like a premium release. Nintendo does not just polish old games. It repackages childhood, controls access, adds scarcity, and sells memory with a checkout button. So stay with me, because once you understand this business model, you may never look at Nintendo's classic games the same way again. Nintendo is not just selling games. It is selling memory with a checkout button. Most gaming companies treat older games like aging products. They launch big, discount fast, bundle later, and eventually throw them into a cheap digital sale. Nintendo does not usually do that with its biggest titles because Nintendo protects price by protecting perception. That is the first secret. Nintendo does not want Mario to feel cheap. Look at Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. The game launched on Nintendo Switch in 2017, yet Nintendo's official site still lists its digital edition at $59.99. Nintendo's investor data also shows Mario Kart 8 Deluxe reached 71.08 million units sold as of March 31, 2026. That is not normal. Most games from that era are buried in discounts, waiting for someone to buy them because the price dropped below a cheeseburger. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still sitting there like a luxury item with banana peels. And somehow, it works because Nintendo understands that old does not always mean outdated. Sometimes old means trusted. That trust is where the real money begins. The Wii U was not a massive success, but it had strong games. When the Switch exploded, Nintendo had a rare opportunity: move missed games to a much bigger console and sell them to a fresh audience. To an old fan, it looked like a port. To a new family, it looked like a new Mario game. That difference is worth millions. Games like New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze got a second life on Switch. Nintendo turned a weak console generation into a second sales cycle. But here is the part most people miss. Nintendo is not only charging for software. It is charging for emotional safety. A parent in Ohio, Texas, or California may not know what a remaster means, but they know Mario is safe, Zelda means quality, and Mario Kart can wreck family peace with one blue shell while everyone still laughs. That trust is a pricing weapon. Other publishers need hype. Nintendo has memory, and memory ages better. Think about Air Jordans in America. When Nike brings back a classic Jordan colorway, sneaker fans do not say, "That design is old." They say, "When does it drop?" The shoe is culture, identity, and feeling. Nintendo does the same thing. Mario is not just a plumber. Zelda is not just a fantasy world. Donkey Kong is not just an angry gorilla with barrel problems. These characters are emotional brands. They remind people of living rooms, cousins, school holidays, sleepovers, and simpler days when the biggest crisis was falling off Rainbow Road. Once a product becomes part of someone's identity, it stops behaving like a normal product. A normal game gets old. A Nintendo game becomes tradition. But nostalgia alone does not make people buy fast. Nintendo adds pressure. That pressure is scarcity. When something feels easy to get, people wait. When it feels like it might disappear, people panic. Nintendo understands this very well. Limited releases, controlled access, and platform-locked libraries make fans ask a different question. Not, "Do I need this?" but, "What if I cannot get this later?" That question is dangerous for wallets. Super Mario 3D All-Stars showed this clearly. The limited-time framing turned a nostalgia collection into an urgent purchase. Many fans bought because waiting felt risky. That is not just gaming. That is sneaker drop psychology wearing white gloves. But the deeper issue is access. Nintendo controls where its old games live, when they return, and how players can legally play them. That control makes the past feel fragile. In March 2023, Nintendo ended new purchases on the Wii U and Nintendo 3DS eShop. Players can still re-download already purchased games and DLC for the foreseeable future, but new purchases ended. That detail matters. It reminds players that digital ownership is not as permanent as it feels. Stores can close. Hardware can age. Services can change. Suddenly, a classic game does not feel old. It feels vulnerable. And when Nintendo brings that game back on modern hardware, fans treat it like a rescue mission. This is where Nintendo's strategy becomes brilliant and frustrating at the same time. The company helps preserve its history, but it also decides how much that history costs. And now, Nintendo has moved that nostalgia machine into subscriptions. Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack gives members access to expanded classic libraries, including Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance, Sega Genesis, Virtual Boy, and GameCube titles for Switch 2 owners, along with select DLC and upgrade packs. On paper, that sounds convenient. And honestly, it is. Nobody wants to hunt for dusty cartridges, broken controllers, and a TV input called Video 2, like they are solving an archaeological mystery. A subscription makes the past easy. Press a button, open an app, and childhood is sitting on the screen. But there is a trade-off. You are not fully owning nostalgia. You are renting access to it. That is the hidden truth behind Nintendo's model. The past stays inside Nintendo's ecosystem. Want classic games? Subscribe. Want upgraded versions? Stay connected. Want old memories on modern hardware? Pay again. Still, Nintendo cannot just throw old games at fans and expect money. It has to make them feel fresh. Not always new. Fresh. That is an important difference. Fresh can mean sharper visuals, cleaner menus, better controls, portable play, extra modes, or small content updates. Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 are a modern example. Nintendo's official page lists enhanced resolution, improved UI, extra storybook chapters, assist mode, soundtrack mode, amiibo support, and 4K support on Switch 2 with a free update. That is not the same as a brand new Mario adventure, but it changes the emotional packaging. Old sounds cheap. Classic sounds valuable. Nintendo is a master at turning old game into beloved return. When fans buy these games again, they are not always paying for surprise. They are paying for certainty. They know the music, the characters, and the feeling. In a gaming market full of broken launches, giant patches, and please wait 6 months until we fix it, Nintendo's old games feel safe. Safe sells. Reliable sells. Childhood sells even harder. That is why the full-price debate is so emotional. Fans are not wrong to complain. Paying premium prices for older games can feel annoying, especially when other companies discount older titles heavily. The criticism is fair. But the purchase still happens because logic and emotion are fighting different battles. The brain says, this game is old. The heart says, I remember this. And in business, the heart usually reaches checkout first. So how does Nintendo sell 10-year-old games at full price? Or close enough that fans still argue about it? Not with one trick. With a system. Protected pricing. Trusted characters. Controlled access. Smart re-releases. Limited availability. Family-safe branding. And nostalgia strong enough to make adults feel like kids again. Nintendo is not really selling a cartridge or a download. It is selling the couch you sat on, the cousin you raced against, and the blue shell that ruined your whole personality. That is why the price hurts, but the purchase still happens. Nintendo does not just preserve the past. It makes the past profitable. So next time Nintendo brings back an old game at full price or near full price, ask the scarier question, why do I still want it so badly? That is the real business model. Nintendo sells nostalgia so well that even when players know the trick, they still line up for the magic. Maybe Nintendo's most powerful product was never Mario, Zelda, or the Switch. It was memory, and Nintendo can sell it again and again. So next time Nintendo brings back an old game and your brain says, didn't I already buy this? Remember, it is not selling pixels. It is selling memory, comfort, and childhood. If this video changed how you see Nintendo, hit like and subscribe, because the next business trick gets even stranger.